Hey, what's up, guys? It is me, Joe. This is the Kentucky Atheist. This is our political show. Welcome, everyone. You'll have to deal with an audio avatar for me this evening. I broke my tripod and didn't have time to really rig anything together today. I actually recorded a video like this today too, which kind of sucks, but you know, it is what it is. I'll get it fixed here in the next couple days and eventually buy one. But for now, we're going to do this for today. Robin will join me here in a few minutes. But before we get going, thank you to all the channel members scrolling across the bottom of the screen there. I need to update that. The Unshaw podcast recently joined as a membership in the Ute group level. Thank you. And thank you to everyone else that's a member. Those start at 99 cents. You click the join button down there if you want to become a member. Also want to say thanks to my Patreon supporters, Greg, Robin, Quinn, Ray, Regios, Captive Desk, and Narrative Dude. Thank you so much for supporting on Patreon. I put a video up over there for you guys today. You got the unedited version of the hurricane response video that I made. I think I added a little extra stuff in there for you guys, just say hi and whatever, you know, just to make it a little bit different for you. But that is up. And hi everyone that came to watch today. Trees, Stacy, how you doing? Tilting Windmill, Chuck, PC, Ember just gifted 5 Kentucky Atheist memberships. Thank you so much, Ember. That's awesome. All you guys that got members, go check out all the new things. You get emojis and I post stuff, and I do a members video every week for you guys. So PC, thanks so much for posting everything. I will go ahead while we're waiting on Robin, since I made a video about this already, and play this little thing where Trump is lying about stuff to do with the hurricane, and we'll talk about that for a second and why it's a problem.
$750
for immediate needs.
For the worst, yeah, but for the worst hurricane that anybody's seen. But she shouldn't be there anyway.
So that $750 thing, I address all this in the video I made today, but just to do it here as well. Everybody knows this by now, but $750 was the initial payment. When they sign up for this, then they are, if they're eligible for more aid, they get it, but that's just to serve for immediate things, food, medical stuff, whatever they may need at first. But that's just the initial payment. And he knows this because there was a hurricane during his presidency. Only then the payment was $500, and it was the same program. It worked the same way. So he knows he's lying about this, just trying to start shit.
Should be, I would say North Carolina is bad, is so bad. And
she was there today for 3 hours, I believe, Kamala Harris.
But more.
That's funny. That is funny. Laura Ingram is fact-checking him on the spot and shutting him down on his lies about it, because they don't want to get in trouble again.
Importantly than that is they don't have the people. They're not doing it. It's a very bad thing.
How would you do it differently?
I'd have a tremendous team of people here. They don't have any people here. The people are all, I was in North Carolina yesterday. I was in Georgia. And Georgia's different. You have a good governor.
They as of Sunday, they had activated 7,000 National Guard members and FEMA people and sent them to the area. So to say that there's not people there is a complete lie.
He's doing a very good job, but North Carolina is a disaster, and it was also hit very hard. But they don't have the people, and they're complaining there's no people around to help. That was a horrific storm.
So I just spoke. The president just called me yesterday.
Let me pause here before we get into this. But again, with the saying there's no people and stuff, there are people, but, and again, I made a video today. I released it. It's go look it up or whatever. The video I put out that goes through and shows like actual facts that correct all these things. But here the governors from these states are going to show that he's lying. He's claiming that the Biden administration hasn't provided anything or done anything. And it's just a bold-faced lie. But here are the governors of those actual states saying that they've gotten everything that they need from the federal government.
Afternoon, I missed him and called him right back, and he just said, "Hey, what do you need?" And I told him, you know, we got what we need. We'll work through the federal process. He offered that if there's other things we need, just to call him directly, which I appreciate that.
We have been, Sean, I have to say, working well with FEMA. They, in fact, were moving very quickly over the last few days for us, and getting these resources has been critically important.
I'm incredibly appreciative of the rapid response and the cooperation from the federal team at FEMA. I've been on the phone over the weekends with the senior FEMA administrator. The team has been deployed. We had our declaration of emergency processed in an expedited way over the weekend and was finalized yesterday.
I too want to thank the entire team. I mean, our communities, our citizens in the communities are certainly very resilient, as the governor stated. Our private partners, volunteers, I mean, obviously our local, our state, and our government and our federal government all working together. Just a lot of hard work going on just across the state. This storm left a tremendous amount of devastation, but the response efforts by all involved have been phenomenal.
As of today, what has been the ongoing kind of federal assistance for South Carolina?
It's been superb. We're getting assistance, and we're asking for everything we need.
They're doing a great job. There can always work harder. There's always kinks in the slinky. We're working them out behind the scenes. And you see this rush of locals, FEMA, from the federal to the state to the local emergency management agencies, local county mayors with tears in their eyes out there serving their people.
We're grateful for the quick actions and close communications that we have had with the president and with the FEMA team.
So to President Biden, thank you for coming. Thank you for paying attention to our needs. I think we've had good working relationship between the federal government.
They're offering people $700.
All right, so you see governors and the officials from those areas completely debunking this, saying they've gotten everything that they need and all that. Hi, Robin. It's good to see you in chat. There you are. What's up?
Oh, I was running late.
Well, that's okay.
What are you doing?
I was just going over the stuff I'd already done anyway, so you're perfect. Let me say something real quick, and then we'll get into something else, though. Ember gifted those memberships a minute ago. It says Ember was gifted a membership by Ember.
Okay.
PC got one. Big D, everything's better with Big D. Bed Hair got one, and Carol Kinzer got one. I had to go back and I had to go find those. I can't see them in the StreamYard chat. I had to pull it up. I usually don't. I guess I should probably have that up, huh? But anyway, so we see that Trump's just lying, and it's the same old stuff. He's trying to create chaos so that he can say, "Look at the mess. Look at how awful they are," and it's just not true. How are you today, Robin?
I'm just blown away by the amount of disgusting that he is.
Yeah.
But I'm good. I'm painting on my house. We're painting and cleaning up the yard, and there's just not enough hours.
Oh, you froze up on me. I don't know. Oh,
I'm
there
froze.
You were for a second. It might have been me.
I have such a case of cognitive dissonance. You know what I mean, with who he is and who his supporters are, because they're not all bad people. But I don't know how a good person, supports him. I really don't.
But yeah, no, I agree, and it's not, you know, you try to not do that, but it's just, how does somebody support someone who is obviously such an evil, awful person that does all these awful things? Like, I mean, so what if he's offered to? Well, he's lying, but if he says he's not, you know, you're not going to pay taxes on overtime, so what? I mean, like, he's still an awful individual. It's not worth all the other things that he's going to do, and you know.
integrity matters. You know,
I think we look better
principles
as squares.
matter.
Yeah. That, you know, and whenever we get into telling the truth about things, the problem with what he's doing with this hurricane stuff is that it spreads to people, and then the individuals who are trying to provide relief, trying to rescue people, trying to help, have to stop what they're doing to address these absurd lies and stuff that are made up by MAGA and Trump. And it's taking away from that. And you have people now that are saying they will refuse anything from FEMA because of things that Trump said. And that's awful. I mean, it's actively killing people, what he's doing. There's people dying because of the words that he is saying.
Well, I mean, I have a hard time feeling pity for those people. Like that old man. Are you talking about that old guy down there in Florida that says he won't take the FEMA money?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I just don't feel sorry for that. I mean, you know, there's people who need that money, and if you need it bad enough, you're not going to sit there and say, "Oh, I'm not," because he wouldn't cross the street to piss on you if you were on fire.
No, that's true.
That's, I mean, it just blows my mind. But I don't know. I mean, I just there comes a time when my sympathy empathy is eliminated with them. And when it comes to that right there.
Well, I mean, I don't so much care about that as just the laws that are causing all these problems, saying that they're taking over towns and that they're hiding bodies and all that shit. And like I said, I get into this in that video I released today.
Why are we hiding bodies?
Huh?
Why are we hiding bodies?
You know, it's just stupid lies. They say that the bulldozers came in and they just covered up bodies and that they're mining for lithium and just all kinds of crazy. And people believe it and they go and...
Go ahead. Sorry.
No, you're fine. People go and they repeat the lies and it's just it's causing a lot of problems and it's preventing them from doing what they need to do. The truth of the matter is that they're prepared to spend up to $30 billion on this right now from what their projections are. And they've already spent hundreds of millions giving out that initial payment and doing things. They sent 7,000 National Guard members in. They've FEMA is there. They have the National Transportation Board, Pete Buttigieg, gave $150 million to help with highways and roads and stuff like that are washed out. So, I mean, to say that the Biden administration isn't doing anything is just crazy. They acted immediately and they're doing exactly what they should be doing, but people are saying they're not, and it's causing them to have to stop and say, yes, we are doing these things, rather than focusing on saving people and helping people. And it's just it's caused a mess. And it's really dangerous, the things that they're spreading. And most of the people repeating it now, not most of them, but a lot of the people repeating it don't even know that it's just right-wing MAGA lies. They just think, you know, it's just conspiracy theory stuff that they're repeating. They don't know that it's all political.
Yeah, it's bullshit.
And this is, hold on, let me show this. This is the person we're taking seriously here. Let me show you something.
So wonderful. The wind is bullshit. I'll tell you, it's horrible.
The wind is bullshit. Yes. That is your candidate.
Full of wind.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's bullshit.
That's your candidate. The wind is bullshit. Hey, what's up, Michael? Good to see you.
Wind. So yes, it's bullshit. Michael Ian, I haven't seen you for a while. Where have you been?
I bumped into him over on another stream the other day. Thanks for coming, everybody in the chat there. I know I missed a few of you. Spooky, Skeptic Spin, what's up? Let's Farm, UDF, Dave. I think somebody's the Unshaw podcast. He's here. Hey everybody, thanks for coming. There was this funny little mashup that Jimmy Kimmel put on his show the other night, because they were always talking about Biden, how old he was, how feeble, and he wasn't able to do anything. And they put this mashup together, and I don't know if it's a problem for me showing this. It's actually all news clips anyway, so it should be okay. But it's worth a good laugh. Let's watch this.
He can barely speak.
We just said another
Let
sock rocket.
me start it over so you can hear what he said at the beginning.
Biden can't walk. He can barely speak.
We just said another sock rocket.
He can read off a teleprompter.
Shifting production to Thailand.
These people need to step down. They're too old.
We like to listen to AM radio.
He's old. He's really old.
They used to call it TiVo. Now they have TiVo.
President Biden is so divorced from reality.
Chuck Schumer has become a Palestinian.
Has Joe Biden really lost touch with all reality?
I'm a better looking person than Kamala.
You can already see his decline.
Will repeat your...
There comes a time where you take the keys away from Grandpa.
They're eating the dogs.
The cognitive decline is degenerative. It gets worse, not better.
They're eating the cats.
We could give you examples.
For
example.
Ding, 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 ding.
For example.
Hurrah, MAGA. MAGA, MAGA.
The man is non-functional.
I'm Joe Biden, and they made me withdraw. That's a bunch of banana oil.
Yeah, so.
I agree. Biden, here's the deal. We didn't know all this when the debate was going on, that Biden was had been involved in the, in trying to get the ceasefire and everything. He had been working, pretty hard and pretty, not getting much sleep, trying to get that ceasefire and trying to get all that. And, when he gets tired, he had a cold. I mean, he really, if you listen to Biden speak, he's been giving speeches. He's not near as, I don't think he was ready for another 4-year term, but he's still far more mentally capable than Trump ever was.
Yeah. I think it's funny that, the whole narrative that they were trying to spin with that is that he's not even fit to be in office now because he's crazy and old and dementia and all that stuff. And now, though, that he's not running, they don't mention any of that. Nobody cares. It's,
they were going to try to get Johnson in there is what they were trying to do. Somehow they were going to get Kamala out of, I don't know what the plan was, but Johnson's third in line, it's just a mess. They're just a terrorist organization is all they are.
Propaganda.
That's terrorism though. Really, it's not like violent terrorism, but it's terrorism. They're endangering people. Drives me crazy.
Yeah. I think that it's pretty crazy that they, all those things they said, and they do apply to Trump, but Trump has zero policy about anything really. The tariffs and all that, and he says he has concepts of a policy for healthcare, if that's, giving it to him in the best light possible, but he has no policy. So everybody just acts emotionally on the things that he tries to put out there. It's always about, you should be mad and outraged and clutching your pearls about this and that and this and all this stuff, because they have no platform to actually run on other than you should hate the Democrats because they're evil. And it's, everything that he says gets debunked and stuff time after time after time. And his supporters see this, but they don't care because they choose to be pissed off. They choose to.
Yeah, they're more radicalized every day. Every day it takes more to keep them happy.
Yeah, they need more lies and more drama and all that all the time, and it's becoming a thing. And so they here is a Newsmax clip where they're actually saying this part out loud, that they're happy that things are going poorly, or at least perceived to be going poorly. Check this out.
Is now started out very good for Republicans. This debate, chaos in the Middle East, the port strike, and of course the cleanup in North Carolina. This is something, obviously, in October, if this continues, that's going to bode well for Republicans.
See, they want it to be bad. They know that if things are bad, you know, he's saying the chaos and the lies that they're spreading about North Carolina. If we can get people upset about this, it's good for Republicans. Let me play this again, because this is serious. Let me play it one more time.
October has now started out very good for Republicans. This debate, chaos in the Middle East, the port strike, and of course the cleanup in North Carolina. This is something, obviously, in October, if this continues, that's going to bode well for Republicans.
The port strike didn't happen, though.
Right.
They lost it. They were wanting it, though. But the one thing about the Republicans is they will tell you, whether they do it intentionally or not, what they're up to.
Yeah.
You just have to pay attention. You know, if they're accusing you of doing stuff, they're doing it. You know, it's just, you know, like I said, I wonder who's eating the pets on that side, because somebody has to be.
Yeah. Somebody is eating the cats. They're eating the dogs. They're eating the pets, folks. And
these hurricanes, I mean, really, I've been pushing this on Facebook. This shows these were predictions that were made by climate scientists. They told us that the storms will become more frequent and more intensified. That's what they told us, and it's happening. And so my conspiracy, or my hypothesis, is that all these stories that are like made up about this study, you know, mining the lithium and all that kind of stuff, were birthed in the big oil protection area, because as soon as people start figuring out that climate science is real, that the climate change is real, they're going to blame the Republicans for lying to them all this time.
Yeah.
And so there has to be, and it's going to hurt big oil. So that this is their way of throwing the people, continuing to throw them off. It's not us. It's the Democrats changing the weather.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, poorly educated believe about anything they say.
Right. UDEF says the likelihood of Trump winning is gaining significant amount of momentum as the race draws near. This is false. This is not true. Trump is losing more and more every day. You can say he may win, but to say that it's gaining momentum, he's not. He's losing voters every day.
He is alienating people every day. You're right.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
There's nobody that has not been a Trump fan all this time that is going to get down here this close and say, "Hey, I think Trump's my guy." You know what I mean?
He also said, I'm reading something that says Hillary Clinton had 56% higher lead against Trump before she lost than Kamala is now. It's not a 56% higher lead. She had 56% of the vote. And there's a few things that happened there. Hillary actually won the popular vote, but she lost in the Electoral College. 3 days before people voted, the FBI came out and released a thing saying they were investigating her over emails and stuff. And I think that was the thing that made the difference, honestly. I think think Hillary was dirty and not a great president and all that. I mean, I think Bernie would have been better. But all that aside, you know, they did a lot of things to screw up Hillary. We found out about all the Russia stuff and everything and all that. I mean, you know, I agree with this right here.
Yeah, the polls are, first of all, the polls are, a lot of them are, they're using what they call replacement things because they can't get anybody to answer the phone. So they're like using like double and triple the caller and everything. So it messes them up. And a lot of these are landline polls that don't actually poll cell phones, and they don't. And a lot of younger people do not answer the cell phone for polls if they do have them. So, and a lot of people stayed home because of Hillary. She had a big lead, but the reason why Hillary lost is because a bunch of Democrats did not come out and vote because they were so frustrated. They were but those people see what we know now, what that cost us. The Democrats who stayed home that day, they're not planning on doing that again this year. They know. I mean, we've got our ass burnt over that. 3 Supreme Court seats, and all this time with Trump, and just, I mean,
UDEF, I'm not saying, you're misunderstanding what I'm saying here. You say, no, I'm not talking about winning 50% of the vote like I'm supporting Kamala Harris, but facts are facts, even if you don't like them. Well, here's the problem. If Hillary was leading by 56% more than Kamala is right now, that means that the polls were 80% in her favor, and they weren't. So that's why I said I think that you're messing up the statistics. It's not. I'm not saying that you're wrong. I'm saying that you're representing it wrong, because she wasn't ahead by that much at any time ever. So that's all I'm pointing to.
I don't think our polls are going to show anyway. All the new voters are not counted in that, and there's been a lot of new voters. We don't even know how many new voters and women voters, and we don't know how many people are who are registered Republican women who are married to Trump supporters, who are going to walk up in the voting booth when nobody's watching them and vote for their daughters' lives.
Yeah.
And not tell nobody. We just don't know. We don't know what that's going to be. And so I don't think the polls, and I mean, I've watched like the Bulwark. I watch them all the time, and they say the polls are just screwed. I mean, because of.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that it doesn't matter anyway. I was just trying to explain that I wasn't trying to like be mean to UDEF here. I'm just saying that the way that maybe it's the way that it's worded, and I'm just having a problem with it. But if you get a link, I'll pull it up and look at it sometime during the show. I'm not, but I agree with you, Robin. I don't think the polls mean shit. I think they give an idea of who supports which one from the people that do polls, but like that's it. It doesn't really do anything else.
See, they're not able to. I listened to something, I can't remember what it's called, but there's a term for it where they'll count, like they'll keep counting like a same person that they polled. You know what I mean? Because they can't get enough of one group that they need, like under 25 years old. So that under 25 thing, they'll just keep using the same people, over and over again. Like say you've got 5 Republican voters and 10 Democrat, they'll just triple both numbers. You know what I mean? They'll triple the Republican one and then triple the Democrat one. And that's how they do it though, because if they can't get enough of the one. So that's not accurate though. You know what I mean? It doesn't really tell them.
Right.
It doesn't give them an accurate. It's a very small group that they're relying on them.
I think the polls give you some kind of idea what's going on, but you shouldn't be like assuming that they mean a whole lot, especially when they're close like that, because historically we know that the polls have been way off like the last 3 elections. They weren't even close.
Plus we need to be down. We need to be down there and tight, because that will make our voters come out. If they think that Kamala has some kind of big lead, that gets people to say, "Oh, I can stay home."
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
And
it seems like really
we don't need them to stay home. We need everybody. I mean, there's no lead that is big enough to stay home.
Yeah, right. No, I agree with you. I think that's the thing. And I think it's important to tell people to vote, because when people vote, Republicans lose. I mean, that's how that works. If people go vote, they won't win.
The higher the show up count is, the worse it is for Republicans.
And I mean, historically, young people don't answer polls anyway. So I mean, it's
no, they don't answer phone.
So I'm not trying to say that the polls don't matter, because they do give you like a view of certain group. They kind of give you a view of what's going on, but they're not like people want to say, oh, well, she's up by 3 points. That doesn't mean anything. Like 3 or 4 points. If the poll said somebody was leading like by 80 points, that would mean something. But whenever they say they're leading by 3, 5, 6 points, that doesn't matter. Like, it gives you an idea of it, but everybody needs to go out and vote.
2 point something is within the margin of error anyway. So, if it's only 2 points one way or the other, then that's not even really an actual difference. You know what I mean? Because that's within the margin of error. But like I said, we need to show up, and we don't need to have a lead that will make people feel comfortable sitting on the couch, because some of these people, it's hard for them to vote. I mean, they did it with Biden, and thank goodness they did. And like, in Georgia, some people waited 12, 15 hours in line and could not even have a bottle of water brought to them to vote. And I've never had to do that to vote. You know what I mean? I'm not sure I would vote if I had to do that, but they did. And we owe them gratitude for doing that, because that's who did it. That's who got us where we are, away from him. Hello? It's Joe froze? I think Joe's froze. I understand you, Def. I just wouldn't count too much on the polls, because they're not accurate. I've heard all the posters have complained that there's all kinds of issues with the polls, it doesn't accurately represent. It only represents likely voters, and not even all of those will go vote. And I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I don't know what the Republican turnout is going to be like, but I'm pretty sure that all the actual Democrats and the Republicans who are supporting Kamala and realize how important and how urgent it is. And I don't think that they're going to stay home like they did against. I know he didn't really mean that. He just, yeah. I mean, yeah. You're right. I don't think that's the way Joe meant. Deviant, could you please address my question above? I'll explain, because no offense to me. What was it? I might be able to if I can answer it. Deviant. Let's see. How is it legal? There are, from what I understand, people who's been in prison, done their time, and they are still not allowed to even vote. Okay, Deviant. That is a state by state issue. Okay. The states decide who is eligible to vote. So some states, like Trump, Trump still has his voting rights. He lives in Florida, but his crime that he was convicted for was in New York City. New York City allows felons to vote. So Florida actually takes away voting rights based on where you commit the crime. And this is not a law or a rule that they changed for Trump. This was just the way it was. So because his crime was in New York, and New York allows the felons to vote, that means that he can vote in Florida too, because they accept the voting status of the place where you committed the crime. Now, in Kentucky, you can get your voting rights back as a felon. I'm not sure what the rule on it is or whatever, but you can, but you don't just automatically get them back. I think you have to request them or something. It have to be so many years or whatever. But some states don't take them away from felons at all. And then the red states are more likely to not allow felons to vote. And that's one of the reasons why they're so gung ho about prosecuting and locking up, people, especially Black people. That's one of the reasons why they push that so hard, is that way they can, they can suppress the vote through the use of prison. Yeah. There's all kinds of dirty tricks they pull. And see, Deviant, Trump has not been tried for any of those crimes either. The only thing he's been tried for so far, he was adjudicated in civil suit for the sexual assault, but that's not a criminal charge. And then he has been convicted of fraud in New York, which he still can keep his voting rights though. And but that's a state case. That's not a federal case. It will not affect his voting rights. I mean, it will not affect his eligibility to run. Actually, our founding fathers never probably ever guessed that we would even consider electing a convicted felon. Now, I mean, our founding fathers, there was a lot. They had a lot of issues that and there's a lot of things, their morality that I disagree with. But at the time, in that period, they were they were a group of people that honor. There was a lot of honor. I mean, we actually had them. One of them was killed by dueling, but you had certain acceptable behaviors, but they would have never have they would never have tried to put just a scoundrel like Trump in office. They just didn't think that they didn't think even common people should be allowed to hold office, because it took a special kind of gentleman, or you had to be raised in polite society to even be eligible to run the country to them. And definitely Trump was not raised in polite society. He may have been rich, but he was gutter rich. Rich trash. That's what he is. Rich trash. Yeah, nor women either. Yeah, that's right. But I mean, I think they would, if any of the founders that come back right now and they saw Trump and they saw Kamala, I'd say they'd vote for her. I'm pretty well satisfied that they would vote for her, because I think they would just, I mean, I can't even imagine what they would think if they saw Trump. I mean, he's so dumb and just so vulgar and just dishonest. I mean, just there's if anybody knows of a good trait that he has, please share it with me, because I can't, I don't know of anything that he's that's you could say that is a good trait that he has, except for maybe he's old and he won't be around long. That's surely he won't live to be, but he could be, he could be live to be 100. That's 22 more years. Just, I don't know. he's just he's proof that there is no justice in this world unless we make it ourselves, because it sure ain't gonna happen. Best red tie collection on earth. I think he wears the same one. I have some pictures of him, like with Diddy. I have some pictures of him with Diddy, and I have some pictures of him with Epstein. And in the pictures that he's in, pictures with Epstein and Diddy, he's wearing the same suit and the same tie. Looks like to me. I mean, exactly the same color, same make. I was just like, this is the only suit he has. Because he used to wear, instead of like bright red, he used to wear like a pinkish looking tie colored back in the day. And now he wears, that red, but he does own really nice shoes. Yeah, I'd say so. He ought to own really nice stuff all around. Yeah. He's just, there's in the world, there's like that old money, those people that have the old money that, they're like royalty sort of families, you know what I mean? And they're usually polite society, and they have it. And then there's that new money people that come in and just trash, you know what I mean? That just got rich, but still trash off the street. That's them. That's Trump is that he's definitely that trash rich, And Kentucky Atheist, Joe says he's almost back. He must have went way out there. He wrote "Here Goes Ears." Yes, Ember. I mean, Evander Holyfield still has a great big chunk of his ear missing out of, from where Mike Tyson bit him. It's gone. It's not coming back. And somehow Trump's ear is like, it has no scar. It has no chunk missing. Nothing. It is just like perfect. So yeah, he's like part oxalotl, or whatever they call it. Oxalotl? Yeah, that's what it is. Trump is part oxalotl. Joe, I don't know. Joe took off. No, his internet froze up or something. He froze on us and then had to restart stuff. And he said he was almost back, but I think he's got lost somewhere along the way. I don't know. I don't have a pirate flag. And I'm sorry, y'all. I look like crap. I've been working on my house all day. I've been painting and working on the yard, and there he is.
So my computer froze up the exact same way as it did last week, and I'm not sure why, but seems like since they updated StreamYard, I don't know what caused it for sure though. But anyway, I'm back. Sorry about that, guys.
Checking out the firmament. David said you were checking out the firmament.
may have been. Maya says that the polls were inaccurate at the last 3 elections. All were within the margin of error. That may be so. I'll look more into it, and if that's the case, I will correct this. But according to the study that I looked at from Berkeley, it says that the polls were only 60% right, I guess is the way I'm going to say it. I forget the way they word it, but that's what that said, and that's what I'm going off of. But I may need to look into it further. I have no problem admitting that may be wrong, and I will check that later. And if it's the case, I'll post something correcting it. So thank you for letting me know, though, Maya. I appreciate it.
I just want to say, I forgot to tell you this. I talked to Miss Maud today, and they did have to leave. They left home, but they were going back home today. I haven't talked to her since they left wherever the shelter or wherever they were at. But everybody's safe. But she was going home to find out if there was how much damage they suffered direct, because they did have to evacuate. So
I'm glad she got out of there. Big thank you to Big D, gifted 5 Kentucky Atheist memberships. Tyler West, Yahooligan, Let's Farm, Bean,
You're roboting.
and Speedy Romans all got membership a couple days for you guys. What happened to Robin? There you are.
Am I gone? You're roboting, or you are on my end.
No. Yeah, my computer's still trying to catch up, I think, because did you hear me say thank you to all the people that got memberships?
Yeah,
Can you hear
part
me at
of
all?
it, you were kind of roboting. You were roboting to me. I don't know about everybody else.
I probably was. Let me read them again. Big D gifted 5 memberships. Thank you, Big D. Tyler West, Yahooligan, Let's Farm, Beamsy, CD Romans all got memberships. I'll do a stream later this week for you guys. Did you hear me that time?
Yeah, I heard you that time, but you started roboting then, and some of them said you did on chat.
I don't know what's going on. Hopefully I'll have a new computer at the first of the year. I'm working with somebody to upgrade some of the stuff so I can provide, better quality things for you guys. It's just, it's probably where everything got wet and there's been a lot of dampness around my computer and stuff, and it's because I didn't start having these problems until that happened. So it may be as a result of that. Let me try and back off some of the processing here and see if it helps. We'll get rid of that moving thing.
Let me answer Big D has a question.
Yeah,
Pennsylvania is what we call a swing state. And what it is Pennsylvania is split between the parties. There are, like my state in Kentucky, our state is overwhelmingly, well, we have a Democratic governor, but we still always go red. And that's because, it's our Congress people and stuff like that. They're they've created the districts and everything, but it's a red state. Pennsylvania is not like that. Pennsylvania is not one or the other. Pennsylvania may one election cycle go blue and then another election cycle go red. It actually has swapped back and forth several times. And most all the swing states do that. And so that's why because those swing states that exist, and Pennsylvania has a lot of electoral votes. It's a very heavily populated state out of the swing states. And so it carries probably a few electoral college votes. But that's why, because, at any given election, it might go red or it might go blue because there are so many independent probably voters or, or the moderates from both sides or something. Or there's just a split down the middle of Republican and Democrat voters in that state. So, but it's not just, there's other swing states. Michigan is a swing state. Wisconsin is a swing state. All of those are going to be close. The votes in those states are going to be close, probably. That's where they'll be close at anyway. But Pennsylvania has more electoral college votes than Wisconsin or Michigan, either one. So,
wasn't it like North Carolina, Georgia, Michigan, Nevada, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin? Aren't those the? I know that's not all of them. But
Nevada doesn't have a whole lot of electoral votes, though. I don't think that's not very heavily populated. You got Las Vegas, which is populated, but but it is a swing. Nevada is a swing state. Yeah, Georgia, North Carolina, and Pennsylvania are Chuck's in Pennsylvania. We know he ain't no swinger. Yeah, we know he's voting for Trump too. Wisconsin, I feel pretty safe about Wisconsin for the Democrats.
Me too.
Because of the trick that the Republicans tried to pull on the Supreme Court in Wisconsin, and they came out and like elected that woman to the Supreme Court like by blistering numbers. And so a lot of the women up north don't like losing their rights. Southern women, they're a little more indoctrinated into that stuff. But up north, no, that's not okay with them women. In Michigan and stuff like that, they don't like that shit. They do not like it. I mean, that's the cradle of our democracy is up there. It's not in the South. And, you know, down south, these women have been trained to think that they're not supposed to have rights. A lot of them. So it's going to be a little harder on the and there's more like Trump messed up with the unions. There's a lot of union votes up north. The Rust Belt is Pennsylvania. It's the Rust Belt, and he didn't keep his promises to the steel industry. So,
yeah. Tilting Women added that there was New Mexico was another swing state.
Yeah, but it don't have very many electoral college votes either, I don't think. I mean,
right.
Pennsylvania has a lot of and Ohio, but Ohio will probably go red. Ohio used to be a swing state. No, it used to be the thing. It used to be a swing state, but it's not. It's it's more red now. But for years it was one of the swing states. Yeah, PA has 20. That's a lot. Yeah. I think what do we have? What do we have? 6 Kentucky or something like that. We don't have. We may have more than that. 21. Kentucky has 21. That don't make no sense. How can Pennsylvania have 20?
No, they don't have that many. It is like 6 or something.
I don't know. I don't know where my phone is. Oh.
But yeah, there's and it's because of our broken electoral college, it comes down to really a couple states. They were focused heavily on Georgia for a minute there, and I'm sure they still are, but like it's it kind of sucks that it's that way. Like that I know that even in Kentucky, which I can't vote in Kentucky, but the people that vote in Kentucky that vote blue, I mean, it doesn't amount to anything, but you should still go vote. Everyone should vote because I mean, it's it's kind of your civic duty, right? I mean, if you want to have a say in it and stuff, it says we have 8 in Kentucky. Tyler West just said.
Yeah. Pennsylvania has 19, it says here.
Yeah.
California has 54.
Yeah.
Florida has 30. Texas has 40. So our biggest ones are California and Texas. Those are the big ones. Texas is Texas might go blue, except for Kamala's not. First of all, she's not polling well with the male Hispanic voters. She's doing poorly with them. I don't know why they are for Trump, but that don't even make sense. But they also do so much voter suppression down there. They like purged the voter rolls, you know what I mean? And then they've actually been going in and harassing members of the Hispanic voters, like the organization, and that they're in like court lawsuits right now for going in there and threatening them and raiding their houses and stuff. Texas will do about any kind of illegal stuff to try to win.
So let's look at some of the actions here. I got to get through these by 8 o'clock. So let's look at some of the actions of Trump here. He, of course, refused to do another debate. and 60 Minutes still wanted to sit down and interview both of them. And let's look at what 60 Minutes had to say here.
A tradition for more than half a century that the major party candidates for president sit down with 60 Minutes in October. In 1968, it was Richard Nixon and Hubert Humphrey. This year, Vice President Kamala Harris and former President Donald Trump accepted our invitation. But unfortunately, last week, Trump canceled. The Trump campaign had told us that the interview would be this past Thursday at Mar-a-Lago. They also asked us whether we would meet 78-year-old Trump in Butler, Pennsylvania, where he was grazed in an assassination attempt. We agreed. On September 9th, Trump's communications director, Stephen Chung, sent a text that read, quote, "I'm working with our advance team to see logistically if Butler would work in addition to the sit-down." Sit-down meaning the interview in Florida. Days later, Chung called to say, quote, "The president said yes." Then, a week ago, Trump backed out. The campaign offered shifting explanations. First, it complained that we would fact-check the interview. We fact-check every story.
Are you fucking kidding me?
You know who's scared of fact-checking? A fucking liar. That's all I say.
You won't let me lie unopposed? No way, I'm not doing it.
Yeah, and Vance in the debate said, "I thought you said you weren't going to fact check."
Yeah, that I think that's one of the craziest things about this, and people are for that. Like a lot of MAGA supporters or Republicans even are like just
they don't care.
Fact-checking's bad.
Let him lie. Let him lie. It's censorship.
You know, Matt Dillahunty says, "I want to know as many true things as possible and get rid of as many false things as possible." Right? I'm paraphrasing, of course, but in this case, Trump, the GOP, and many of their supporters, they want to believe as many false things as possible. Like that is their goal.
Well, if you're a Christian who is a Republican, and you eliminate all your false stuff from your life, you got nothing left. You know what I mean? You'll be looking at some bare walls.
So excuse number one is we were going to be fact-checked.
Later, Trump said he needed an apology for his interview in 2020. Trump claims correspondent Leslie Stahl said in that interview that Hunter Biden's controversial laptop came from Russia. She never said that. Trump.
So then the second one was...
You'd have said that 60 Minutes is bad about copyright.
Oh, that's okay. I'm not worried about it. We're doing commentary on it. They got it to do, I guess. So the second excuse is that I need my ego stroked because I think somebody said something that they didn't say, and they fact-checked that, which he already had a problem with that, and it was a lie. But he's going to say it anyway, of course, you know.
No, John, I'm not voting for white Jesus.
His opponent doesn't do interviews because she can't handle them. He had previously declined another debate with Harris, so tonight may have been the largest audience for the candidates between now and Election Day. Our questions addressed the economy, immigration, reproductive rights, and the wars in the Middle East and Europe. Both campaigns understood this special would go ahead if either candidate backed out.
So then it came down to he's bitching and saying, well, Kamala Harris doesn't answer questions. And she's the one that showed up and they did the interview. She wanted to do another debate. He backed out of it. So it as usual, it's exactly the opposite. It's always projection, right? But yeah.
I'm voting for Kamala Harris. I'm voting for Harris. No Cheeto Jesus, no white Jesus, no. I'm voting for Harris.
None of the Jesuses. None of the
Jesus.
I'm
voting straight blue, as many as I've got, which, you know, in Kentucky, I don't have that many choices, but no, I'm not voting no Republican. None.
Let's take a look at another ad and stuff here.
Putin a lot. I got along with him well. And I know Putin so well. I'd like to congratulate Vladimir Putin for having made yet another great deal. Did you see the deal we made?
Talk to him like that?
Oh, no, I had a very good relationship. That's a good thing, not a bad thing. And I'm trying to tell people, no, it's a good thing. When you see Putin and you see all of these people, they're at the top of their game. And I also have a very good relationship, as you know, with President Putin. And I think if we win, I think we're going to get it resolved very quickly. I really think we're going to get it resolved.
Look at him, look at him.
We're going to have I see.
Yeah.
God, don't you know he would love to just punch him right in the mouth.
Yeah, he's in awe that he said that. So what this is about is everybody has known that Trump says Trump is all the time saying, oh, it's always Russia, 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 but then he's always talking about how much he loves Putin. There was a book, Bob Woodward, I think, who was also the guy that exposed the Watergate stuff with Nixon. Has wrote a book.
Well, he's one of them. He was one of them. It was Woodward and Bernstein. Yeah.
And he has wrote another book, and in this one he has one of his sources was one of Trump's aides who says that they were told to leave the room and stuff while he talked to Putin, and they say on at least 7 occasions, and they know that they have the transcript of the phone call where he talked to Putin, and Putin's telling him not to let people know that he gave him COVID tests, and because people won't like it, and Trump just doesn't really give a shit. But this is during 2020 when he was telling people to inject bleach into their veins and to put light in their body and to stop testing because that was the problem. And he was sending tests to Vladimir Putin, which everybody wanted. We had a shortage. He was sending them to Putin for his own personal use because Putin was terrified of getting COVID. This just came out here in the last couple days, and there's actually some other stuff that's coming out too about all this. But as of the time I got the clip, this was what it was.
See, I'm far more upset over his 7 or 8 conversations with Putin. I mean, I understand about the testing stuff that we were struggling to find them, but I think it was just like 2 tests, 2 or 3, and you kind of expect like leader of one country to, and if Putin calls and says, "Can I have a COVID test?" I mean, it's kind of petty to say no. I mean, you kind of expect leaders of countries
Putin
to
didn't ask.
I thought he did. I thought he asked them for him. But
my understanding is that he sent them, and then Putin was surprised that he sent them, and he said that's my understanding of it. Now I may be incorrect on this as well. If I am, somebody tell me. But
it's just like it's just like though that leaders of countries are going to scratch each other's back somewhat. You know what I mean?
Of Russia?
I mean, even though it does. I mean, the fact that he did it, that he sent him a couple of tests, is not bothering me as near as much as the fact that he kept talking to him after he wasn't president anymore.
It's not because that he's sent him.
When he's not president, he has no business talking to him.
Yeah. It's not that he sent him the test. It's that he sent him the tests while he was lying to America about it and saying things like "put bleach in your veins," and we had a shortage of tests. That's where
he wanted
where
us
I
to stop
take
testing.
issue with that.
He wanted to stop testing. He said our numbers would be a lot better if we stopped testing.
Putin is one of the richest people in the world. He could have got his hands on tests if he wanted them. He didn't need Trump to do that. And with all the misinformation he was putting forward and lying about stuff and saying it was going to go away and just all the crap he was saying, like I feel like it's kind of dirty. I mean, it makes me want to take a shower. That's all.
All the undermining that he has done. You know what I mean? Like all the back, like we met him they had their planes parked beside each other, remember? And also there was also not only Putin's plane and Trump's plane, but there was also one of Saudi Arabia's planes there. So those three, you know what I mean? I watched, there's a podcast that I watched the other day that says all of the world's dictators are working together.
Yeah.
And I believe it. I do. I believe it. There is a group, Xi and
I think that's public knowledge, though. I mean, North Korea.
But this is like the first time, really, in history that this many of them all across the world have been together. You know what I mean?
I mean, World War II was kind of a thing.
Well, but there was still a bunch that weren't. But now there's like most of the countries that have got dictatorships that they're all getting on pretty good.
Yeah,
Iran, North Korea, Russia, Saudi Arabia, you know what I mean, and Hungary.
Well, I mean, it's also interesting that if we look at the classified documents that Trump stole when he left office, he stole documents on Iran, China, Russia, and he's buddies with North Korea. I mean, Trump wants to be in that club, right? He's that's what he strives for, and I think everything he says points to that. But whatever. This is a clip from The Last Word with Lawrence O'Donnell, I think is his name. Let's play a little bit more of this, and then we'll look at that Young Turks clip, Robin, okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, but it takes two to tango,
Bob Woodward's book was saying that Trump was sending COVID tests to Putin, and Putin said, don't let anyone know. I mean, what is going on? What do you make of that?
So I actually said it even in the debate. I believe that Donald Trump has this desire to be a dictator. He admires strong men, and he gets played by them because he thinks that they're his friends.
Yeah.
And they are manipulating him full time and manipulating him by flattery.
Yeah.
And with favor. And so in the midst, to your point, as reported by Bob Woodward, in the height of the pandemic, and remember, and your listeners will remember, people were dying by the hundreds.
Yeah.
Everybody was scrambling to get these kits, the tests, the COVID test kits.
You couldn't get them.
Couldn't get them.
Right.
Couldn't get them anywhere.
Right.
And this guy who is president of the United States is sending them to Russia, to a murderous dictator for his personal use. That is just the.
Yeah, that's how I feel about it too. Is I just think that it was this big secret, and I think that part of it's kind of says something. It's not the couple of tests that he sent.
Yeah, I don't like him talking to him either because he's undermined.
I agree. Why would he be doing it? Like, what purpose? Especially that we know that Russia's trying to interfere in the election again, right? That they're doing the same things they did before. We know they're doing that. So why would Trump need to talk to him?
And funding Iran, you know what I mean? And they're helping fund Iran. We know that. And so. They're Iran, you know what I mean, is like one. It's just so crazy that this is going on, and then the Republican Party is okay with it. That's why I said they're a terrorist group. They're a terrorist party. They're just a homegrown terrorists. You know what I mean? Maybe not the voters, but the voters don't seem to even pay attention to what they're doing. I mean, some of the voters are like that. But there are some voters, like my parents, who really think that the Republicans are the ones that are Americans, that are doing the shit right.
They believe the radical left shit. Yeah.
Fox has done their work properly. The first thing a cult does is tell you everybody else is lying.
Yeah. I'm gonna let this play out, and then we'll hit the other one.
most recent stark example of who Donald Trump is, that he secretly sent COVID test kits for the personal use of Putin, of Russia, an adversary to the United States, when he was talking about Americans should be putting bleach in their blood.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All
he's
right.
fucking nuts.
So that looks
I mean,
back at
he hates America. I mean, he don't care nothing about America. He does not care
Right.
anything about America.
Right. That looks back at what Trump was doing, some of the shady things he was doing. But this other thing that Robin brought to my attention, and is a new thing, and there's more stuff coming out about this actually. But let's take a look at this clip.
This confirms. Okay, let me say this confirms what most of us have been raising hell about since this happened. We knew this at the time. We just didn't have the receipts.
Yeah. Now they have the receipts. Yeah. I do want to say that the Young Turks, I don't like everything they do, but this is an excellent reporting right here. This is I love this.
Yeah, and you can go
all over.
Sorry, go ahead, Robin.
You can go to Senator Sheldon Whitehouse from Rhode Island. He also has this information on his channel too. This is where they got their information from.
I don't think I have the links for all the clips in the description. I'm not sure if I added this one to it or not. I may not have. If not, I'll adjust it. But the clips, all the clips that I've played here today, you can go watch the full videos and stuff. It's all in the description. I try to always put that stuff there for you guys if you want to go see. So, I'm not taking things out of context or whatever. But,
And
all
Ray was the head of the FBI at this time, right?
Was he?
Yes, I think so.
All right, let's see.
Everybody, and I would expect he's a very high quality person. I would expect it's going to turn out very well for the judge. Yeah, they have free reign. They're going to do whatever they have to do, whatever it is they do. They'll be doing things that we never even thought of.
Spoiler alert, they did not have free reign. Now, of course, what President Donald Trump is referring to there is the investigation into his Supreme Court nominee at the time, Brett Kavanaugh, who was dealing with some pretty serious attempted rape allegations by Dr. Christine Blasey Ford, a woman that he went to college with. Now, it turns out that the FBI's investigation into the sexual assault allegations against then Supreme Court nominee Brett Kavanaugh was anything but independent. And this is according to a new report that follows a 6-year-long investigation. Now, as a reminder, the inquiry into Kavanaugh came after testimony by Dr. Christine Blasey Ford, in which she accused the judge of groping her and trying to take off her clothes at a party 3 decades earlier. There was also another accused.
This is not accurate. Anna's is actually inaccurate. When Kavanaugh was nominated to the Supreme Court, he was already had more than one ethics thing filed against him that he had not had addressed yet. But like through the you file ethic charges against them. We don't know. They all disappeared as soon as he was nominated. Though all of the ethics charges that were filed against him disappeared. So he was actually already kind of should have been being investigated prior to Dr. Ford's testimony. Does that make you understand what I'm saying? So we kind of, and then they put out supposedly a call, like a hotline where you could call, and the hotline went straight to the White House.
Yeah.
And they did nothing.
Yeah. She tells all that here in a minute. The Aaron, you said it's a pity you missed the live on the Helene misinformation. It wasn't a live; it's a recorded video I made just to because there was so much to do with that. I didn't want it to take up all the time here. So it's a recorded video. You can watch it anytime. All right. Sorry.
No, that's fine. I was just going to say, Anna, that I mean, Kavanaugh, Kavanaugh was already being, he already had ethics charges brought against him prior to his nomination to the court. Yeah. And of course, if anybody's ever sat and watched, I watched the hearings. I watched the Dr. Ford's testimony. And, you know, I mean, if there was a trial that day and I was on the jury, he would have been found guilty. I mean, it's hard. And, you know, even Mitch McConnell sat there and with a look on his face. Mitch McConnell knew he was guilty.
Yeah. The funny thing is, even with them kneecapping the investigation, there was still plenty that showed that he was the piece of shit they were saying he was. Right.
I like beer. That's what he said. I like beer. I mean, and Kamala Harris is the person who questioned him. And Kamala Harris said, give me a law that gives the government free, you know, control over a man's body. And she made him cry, actually. She made Kavanaugh cry. He did. He cried. And she did it. And I will always think she's a badass just because she made Brett Kavanaugh cry.
User Deborah Ramirez, who had come forward saying that Kavanaugh had, you know, shoved his genitals into her face at a party when they were at Yale in the early 1980s. I apologize. I should have given you all a trigger warning considering the, you know, content here, but the report is now being released. It was produced by Democratic Senator and Judiciary Committee member Sheldon Whitehouse. And I do want to commend him for refusing to let this situation go, because this was 6 years ago and we do have short attention spans. And what happened with Christine Blasey Ford and this sham investigation really bothered me. And to see that there's someone actually keeping an eye on it and following up with it is great.
Yeah, definitely. Big ups to Sheldon Whitehouse for
Senator Whitehouse is a badass. He is a badass. He's hardest working man in Washington, D.C. Hardest working man.
Yeah. This and a lot of people, you know, they remember this happened or whatever, but it ended and he became Supreme Court Justice and everybody was like, oh, well. And he decided to keep looking into it. And, you know, it's pretty messed up, though, that this has been uncovered and there's nothing they're going to do about it, though. Nothing will be done about it.
And our senator, I mean, Trump was the one that was doing that, whatever, you know, but our senator was in charge of the Senate. And our senator is to blame for every bit of this. Mitch McConnell is to blame for every bit of this.
Yeah.
And I've told him that several times, trust me, in emails.
Yeah.
Now, his findings reveal that despite publicly declaring that the FBI was free to investigate Kavanaugh at their own discretion, the White House never actually authorized the agency to independently probe the sexual misconduct allegations, okay? In reality, the White House kept a tight grip on the FBI. Some of the limits that were placed by the Trump White House on this inquiry, on this investigation, were known at the time. The FBI didn't question Kavanaugh or Blasey Ford about the allegations. They also did not interview the dozens of people who were provided by lawyers for Blasey Ford and Ramirez, who said that they could have provided corroborating evidence.
So they didn't interview the victims. They didn't interview the witnesses. They, I mean, they didn't interview the alleged perpetrator. They, it wasn't an investigation. It was an investigation on paper. It had the label of that, and that was it, pretty much, right?
Not really, even that. You know, it was just.
They wrote down that there was an investigation, but they didn't really do one.
Smoke and mirrors. That's all it was.
Yeah,
Smoke and
yeah.
mirrors.
That is what investigators are supposed to be looking for: corroborating evidence. but the Trump administration prevented that from happening. The reality was even more damning, by the way. Okay. So the report found that messages to the FBI tip line regarding Kavanaugh were forwarded directly to the White House and never probed. And that the FBI had no written protocols for the supplemental background investigation ordered by the White House.
Yeah. That the messages from the FBI tip line regarding Kavanaugh were forwarded directly to the White House and never even looked into.
Did you see what Tsunami said? Tsunami said that she got a Trump ad before we went live.
I don't know. I don't get to pick the ads.
I don't have ads. Like I have, so I don't see ads.
It's on my channel. This is monetized. So
I
yeah,
have premium, so I don't have to watch ads. I mean, unless you do one personally in your stream, I don't have to watch ads.
Yeah, it's yeah. I guess it's because it's a political show. Yeah, they're putting Trump ads on it since I'm speaking out against Trump. Whatever, I guess. But sorry about that. It's necessary to keep the lights on around here. But all right.
And I remember at the time, the other thing was they limited the time frame in which the FBI can conduct the investigation. They were given a week. And when the FBI announced that they had concluded their investigation before the week was even up, I mean, I knew it was a sham. And I think most people who have two brain cells to rub together knew it was a sham.
Yeah, I mean, they only gave them a week, which is bad enough, right? I mean, it's a sham when they say that, and then they're done in less than a week. It was just to say they opened an investigation.
Yeah, it was Kamala Harris that made him cry in his confirmation hearing. She was questioning because he kept trying to not answer questions.
Yeah. Sumami, I'm glad you're here. I don't care much for Anna either, or Anna, or however you want to say it. I don't like her much either. She does some okay stuff. I think this was a bit of good reporting, is why we're covering it. But yeah, I don't care much for a lot of the stuff on the Young Turks. But there,
She said she left the left because of the wokeism.
Yeah. This is this though is just talking about the facts that are put out there. So I'm not, I'm not like I'm in no way suggesting that everybody follow the Young Turks. This was just the first bit of reporting that I've seen on this, and I said let's cover the event is what I'm trying to cover here. I don't care about her, honestly. She's nobody. We got another minute or so of it here, and it'll be over.
Report notes that the FBI was instructed by the White House to talk to 10 potential witnesses and was not given the leeway to pursue corroborating evidence, the absence of which was cited by senators as they narrowly voted to confirm Kavanaugh.
Yeah, what the hell?
Here's the deal. Senator Whitehouse has been saying this for a long time, for 6 years. They let them into a room, okay, and they had all of the paperwork and all of the all of the report and stuff on tables spread out in the room. They were not allowed to take. They had 2 hours to look through this stuff. They were not allowed to take notes. They were not allowed to take pictures. That's it. There were stacks of information. It was just stacks and stacks and stacks of information. The senators were allowed to go through there one time. They had 2 hours to go through everything, and they could not take any notes, and they could not take any pictures. And that's what he said at that time, that's what they were given to investigate this with. He's been fussing about this for years, for 6 years.
Yeah.
Senator Whitehouse. You can, Aunt Joe, y'all, if y'all want to know anything about this, you can go watch over Senator Whitehouse's channel. He has one. Him and Lawrence have something on this recently.
Yeah.
But then one of his Supreme Court videos that he has in there, the scheme videos, one of them is dealing with this too, and he goes into he talks about how they weren't allowed to look at the information or anything. So I appreciate Senator Whitehouse so much. He is just he's like a one of those snapping turtles that once he gets a hold of something, he's not going to turn loose of it.
Yeah. The and you know, I just seen that that clip of Senator Whitehouse talking to Lawrence O'Donnell right before we did the show, and I probably should have swapped it out or whatever, but I had everything set up. It's been a heck of a day. If for that video that I put out today, I literally wrote the script for that at 3 o'clock this morning and went and got all the facts together for it and all the different sources and put together, made a slideshow out of like 30 some slides, and then recorded the video, edited the video, and uploaded it to 2 different places. So I was working on other things, and then by the time we got here, I just didn't swap it out. I probably should have, but yeah. You know, it is what it is. There was just a comment on that video, actually. I'll read it to you guys and see what you think. First, they said, well, we'll just read the most recent one. It says, "It seems to me the reporting on the issue is biased, as the comment that people received $750 was correct. I didn't check up on the other allegations." Oh, you do check the other side. You have the video on that. I don't know why they're bitching about this. Like, the people did receive the money. They've kept record of it. You can go to the FEMA's website, and they've got there exactly how much money they've given out. Like, as of Monday, I think it was $220 million. So
yeah, and the 750 is just the initial money just to get food and
yeah,
you know, shelter and stuff. Just like hurry up, you know what I mean? It's faster, and it was only 500 under Trump. So
I don't understand.
They're already getting $250 more under Biden than they would if their initial payment was only 500 under Trump, and then you have to actually apply again for, you know, more funding. You know what I mean? But this is just to get you. This is like money in your pocket to feed your family with and to get housing and stuff.
I don't understand the question, honestly, because it's like they did give people the people that applied and qualified got that money immediately. No matter what they're going to get ahead of that, they got that money immediately, right? And so when you're asking me,
it's just like money right now to feed, shelter your family.
Right.
You know,
Yeah,
I mean,
no,
it's emergency.
I get that, but when you're asking me, did I look at the other side? Did I look at the people that are saying all they gave them was $700? I mean, that is the answer to that. That's what the video was, is saying, yeah, they did give them that money, but they have an application, and as it's processed and the amounts are known of what they need, they'll get the money they need. I mean, it's allotted for this. They will get it. They are getting it.
I mean,
You're asking me,
how can you even expect to get more money already? You know what I mean? They haven't you haven't even been able to have a insurance adjuster come and tell you how much damage you have. Or you know what I mean, or assess your property, or
well, I mean, you're asking me, did I go and try and verify the thing that I've shown to be a lie? And why would I do that once I've shown it's not true? I don't need to hear what just random people are repeating propaganda. We have the facts of the numbers of how much they gave, who they gave it to, why they gave it to them, how they went about doing it, how many people they sent down there. We have all of that information is public. It's public record. And if you look at that video that I did on the hurricane disinformation, in the description of that video are the links that show you the numbers for all this stuff. that
they're not just handing out cash.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know
No,
what I
they
mean?
didn't just throw money at everyone.
About and tell them I need 50,000 cash, and then you get it. I mean, they have to you have to have there's going to have to be adjusters that
Yeah.
come and assess your property and how much if you get money for rebuilding or whatever. I mean, it's just, and we haven't even got all the bodies found yet. I mean, there's still people missing.
Yeah.
So the fact that the people think they would be handing out checks to pay for their losses is just ridiculous. I mean,
it's a strange question.
These people live in like some kind of alternate reality to where things are not possible that they think happen. They think things should happen that are not possible.
Yeah.
Well, and anything Biden does is wrong. I mean, it doesn't matter. Anything Biden does is wrong to them.
So, with that, it is 8:00, and the show is starting over on the transpositions. Everybody will be redirected over there for that. Tell them that you came from here when you get there, and say hi. And I do want to say thank you to Ember and Big D for the memberships, and thank you guys very much, and thank you to everyone that is a channel member. Thank you to my Patreon supporters that I mentioned earlier. Here they are again, just for shits and giggles. Greg, Robin, Quinn, Ray, Regios, Captive Desk, and Narrative Dude. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. We're going to get out of here so you can get over there and watch that show, though. And everybody have a great night. See you later.